Republicans just got stunned as they got wiped out in a series of special elections, school board elections that took place on Tuesday. I'm talking about in Alaska, in Missouri, in ruby red areas of Wisconsin. I mean, we're talking about in Oklahoma, in ruby red areas. We're seeing Democrats taking control of school boards, a big Democratic aligned win in Wisconsin in their Supreme Court race. Chris Taylor, the Democrat aligned candidate, winning big by like double digits, 20 points, almost 30 points, and winning in red suburban areas in Wisconsin that were big Trump districts that are now flipping blue that we haven't seen in decades. Massive Democratic overperformances in Georgia as Donald Trump's approval with independents is now lower than Nixon's approval with independents by a significant amount as of the time that Nixon resigned. So Nixon was more popular with independents than Donald Trump is right now. And Donald Trump's disastrous deal with Iran, getting us into this unlawful criminal war in Iran, only to enter a deal as well that's a total surrender and capitulation after all of this. I have a feeling that Donald Trump's poll numbers are going to get much, much worse. And just think about what this means for the midterms and the blue tsunami that may unfold. Let's just go through point by point as Zachary Danini explains. While national attention was focused on Iran, Democrats won big across the country last night. Wisconsin, a blowout Supreme Court race. Remember, I had Chris Taylor on the MeidasTouch network. She won by over 20 points. In Georgia's 14th congressional district, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's old district, there was a 23 point overperformance by Democrats. The Democratic candidate still lost, but a 23-point overperformance. In Missouri, I'll talk about that in a moment, a big mayoral win in a ruby red area and a school board flip in a ruby red area. Then in Oklahoma, Democrats flipped a seat in a 27-point overperformance, a massive win there. Let's zoom in on the Tulsa school board seat right here, where Democrats flipped this seat. The right-wing candidate, Ilana Ashley, went down. She faced backlash after suggesting immigrant students endangered school safety, Zachary Danini points out. And the Democrat Connie Dodson defeats Republican Ilana Ashley, flipping the Tulsa Public School Board District 4 and a massive flip there. Talk about what's going on in Missouri for a second. Taniel explains that the right took over the Francis Howell School Board, a large Missouri district earlier this decade that followed book bans and restrictive policies and hate directed at the LGBTQ students and community. Tonight, a slate endorsed by the teachers' slate swept, and the last remaining right-wing conservative MAGA was ousted. Bye-bye. Conservative MAGAs had already lost ground in 2024. The remaining conservative MAGA, who just lost her re-election rates, Pusker is her name, spoke up for banning a Toni Morrison book just last month. This adds to other conservative MAGA losses on school boards. They got wiped out in school boards in ruby red areas last night. Let's go to Waukesha, the Waukesha mayoral election in Wisconsin. Alicia Halvesbin won 51% to about 48% over Scott Allen. And as I'm sure you remember from my coverage back in 2024, Waukesha, Wisconsin went in favor of Trump +6. That's one of the redder areas in Wisconsin, Waukesha is. And the Democrat won there, a massive overperformance. As I noted before, you zoom in on Chris Taylor, the now Supreme Court Justice's race. She's the Democratic aligned candidate. I mean, she absolutely destroyed Maria Larazar. Let's take a look at Ozaukee County as well, as Donini points out, another historic moment as Democrats flip this county from red to blue, breaking a streak of 14 straight conservative MAGA wins in Wisconsin Supreme Court races dating back to 1999. And now Zaki went in favor of the Democratic aligned candidate there. Also, let's not sleep on Alaska. Don't sleep. You were going to sleep on Alaska, weren't you? Don't sleep on Alaska. As Donini points out, it looks like the Democratic aligned Rachel Blakesley strong position in Anchorage. Rosales drew scrutiny for posts calling to castrate parents of trans children and praising aspects of Hitler's economic policies. And so you see right here the Anchorage School Board seat C. Big night for Rachel Blakesley beating the Alexander Rosales castrate the parents of trans children candidate. And Donini pointed out enough votes are in that Blakesley is likely to maintain a high single-digit to double-digit lead as well. A big, big victory there. And a historic night in Georgia. Sean Harris was not able to pull off the victory against the MAGA Clay Fuller. I mean, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. But he posted the largest congressional special general election performance, not just in a decade, really in the past 20 years. As Donini says, I can't even find a data set that goes back far enough. Oh, don't sleep on Missouri. Democrats won in a very purple area of a Missouri suburb. Beto Lopez defeats Cinda Radar in Lee's Summit, a Harris +2 city, marking another comfortable Democratic lead last night. And if you want to zoom in like Milwaukee, for example, the heavily Hispanic areas on Milwaukee's south side shifting sharply towards Democrats with a 56-point swing in one Lincoln Village precinct. Taylor, that's the Supreme Court justice now, getting 91% compared to Harris's 64%. May I repeat that for a second? As you looked in some of these heavily Hispanic areas in Milwaukee, Harris got about 64% of the vote. Now, the Democratic aligned candidate getting 91% of the vote. We're talking about 56% over performances by Democrats in some of these districts in Milwaukee. Wow, wow, wow. Again, let's take a look right here. Yeah, Jefferson County turning blue. Just look at the map right here, and you can see literally every county in Wisconsin overperformed blue, overperformed Democrat, and the numbers speak for themselves. Let me show you Harry Enton's latest analysis of this poll, showing that Donald Trump is less popular amongst independents than Nixon at the time of Nixon's resignation. Play this clip.
Let's talk about independents, which has been this group which really has just been eye-popping the last few months.
Eye-popping indeed. This number, if there's one big number from this, is that Donald Trump now has the worst net approval rating among independents of any president ever at this point in term two. He is worse than Richard Nixon, who would be going adios amigos in a few months back in 1974 in term two. Look at this, minus 45 points, worse than George W. Bush at this point in term two. The Iraq War was weighting him down at minus 37, and worse than Richard Nixon when, of course, there were all those impeachment hearings back in 1974 at minus 36 points. He's nearly 10 points worse among independents on his net approval rating at this point in term two, Donald Trump is, than Richard Nixon. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, height of Watergate we're comparing it to here.
Yeah.
Or what about polls showing what a disaster Trump is on the economy? Enton, take it away.
Look at this. These are the worst. In our poll, 69% disapprove of Donald Trump on the economy. For George W. Bush, it was 57% in terms of the average. Barack Obama, 56%. Donald Trump is crushing him on a metric you don't want to be crushing anybody on, which is disapproval ratings on the economy. He's double digits worse. I was looking at some other polling data also above the 57 and 56%. The worst of all time at this point in term number two. It's the economy dragging Trump down, being, of course, accelerated by inflation being so bad. And, of course, the gas prices just adding up. It's like a pancake tower, and you're just reaching the top. And this is not a tower you want to climb.
Or what about amongst male voters? Enton, take it away.
Donald Trump and Republicans won in 2024 because of support from male voters. The only way they can win, given the gender gap in this country, is support from male voters. And male voters are abandoning Donald Trump. Take a look here. This gives the game away. Okay, Trump's standing with men. In November of 2024, he beat Kamala Harris among them by 13 points. Look at where he is now on his net approval rating. Down he goes. It's a 20-point shift away from Donald Trump. He is now 7 points underwater at this particular point among men. I think it is very difficult for Republicans to do well in this midterm cycle if Donald Trump is underwater with men. As my uncle once wrote, where the boys are, where the men are, they are underwater when it comes to Donald Trump.
Okay, so that's overall men, but what about young men who were really influential?
Yes, young men. Of course, there was a massive shift to Donald Trump from 2020 to 2024 among young men. And look right here. Whoa! Yikes. Men under the age of 25 on Trump. He won him in 2024 by 5 points. Look where he is now. The net approval rating way down there. Down we go to negative 19 points. That's nearly a 25-point switcheroo against the president of the United States when it comes to men under the age of 45. Those men that had switched their allegiances over to the Republican Party are seeing what the president is doing. They don't like what the president is doing, and they have very much soured on the president of the United States, men under the age of 45.
What is it?
Now, I'll just share with you quickly Democratic Senator Chris Murphy, what he said about Donald Trump's disastrous war in Iran. Play it.
I mean, listen, the president has promised to commit war crimes. He's promised to eradicate an entire civilization. We have never, ever seen that in the history of this country. That's why I and many other people have been talking for the last 24 hours about the 25th Amendment. It does seem that Trump has lost touch with reality. I mean, we just can't accept a president who is literally promising to destroy an entire civilization, to murder hundreds of thousands of innocent human beings. That alone should be grounds for the removal of this president. But he thinks, I guess, that the threat of mass-scale war crimes has achieved some success. But as we're learning in the last few minutes, the success seems to be that Iran has more power over global commerce than ever before in our lifetime. And so the combination of the threat of war crimes along with the outcome of this so-called ceasefire, it's just really hard to get your head wrapped around.
And more from Murphy right here. Let's play it.
I mean, listen, who knows what's going on? Donald Trump lies every single day. Clearly, he's not telling the truth. But if you accept even part of the Iranian statement, Donald Trump has agreed to give Iran control of the Strait of Hormuz. That is extraordinary. If you go deeper into the statement from the Iranian National Security Council, they claim that Trump has also agreed to Iran's right to enrichment, to suspend all sanctions against Iran, and to allow Iran to keep their missile program, their drone program, and their nuclear program. Now, who knows if any of that is true, but if at the very least this agreement gives Iran the right to control the strait, that is cataclysmic for the world. And it is just stunning that that's where we have gotten to, that Donald Trump took a military action that has apparently, at least for the time being, given Iran control over a critical waterway that they did not have control over before the war began. So it just doesn't sound like there's actually an agreement, because what Trump is saying is totally different than what the Iranians are saying. But if Iran has the strait permanently now, what an error, what a miscalculation this entire endeavor was.
But if you listen to Laura Ingraham, here's what she had to say. Let's play it.
Okay, so actually tonight's news is actually bad news for them. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it the way it is. They always underestimate Trump. And as for 2028 Van Halen, who we just saw, he has the charisma of a mollusk. So we were at the precipice here. We had to rewrite the script. Donald Trump continues to rewrite the political script. Democrats believe they finally had Trump and the entire MAGA movement in a box. But once again, the last laugh will be on them.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. This spells doom for for MAGA Republicans in the midterms. Looks like a blue tsunami is arising. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.